You've probably already heard about the budget crisis at San Diego Unified School District. The shortfall district trustees and staff are trying to close is $124 million. I've seen many budget messes in San Diego over the years, but nothing quite like this one. Start with the fact that we're not in a recession. Also, voters locally and statewide have supported tax increases, and the revenues flowing into San Diego Unified School District have soared. The problem is, employee salaries and pension costs have gone up even faster, and now the state is not sending a lot more money to the school district. This has caused a massive shortfall, the gap between how much money the district is bringing in and how much it is set up to spend. We've had a lot of trouble understanding exactly what they're doing to deal with this problem, but one thing is clear. Hundreds of people have been warned that they may get laid off. As far as we can tell, they're eliminating more than 1,500 positions, and that includes 891 full-time equivalent positions for educators. Now, a full-time equivalent position means that it could be one job at 30% of the time and one job at 70% of the time, so that's a whole full-time equivalent employee, but that could be two workers. And it's going to hit schools in poorer areas the hardest. This graph shows the correlation between poverty at a school and the percent of educators at the schools that have been warned they might get laid off. Schools like Porter Elementary are facing severe layoffs. 16 of Porter's 38 educators were warned they might get laid off. Knox Middle School, just down the street, could lose exactly half of its educators. 14 of 28 teachers were warned they'd be laid off. The district has promised that class sizes will remain the same. That means that teachers who are laid off will be replaced by teachers at other schools. And that goes on and on until district administrators and principals have to themselves shift into teaching classrooms again. But the disruption, nonetheless, is brutal. Anyone who works on school campuses knows how hard it is to build a strong community. Schools that avoid layoffs are much more stable. One of the reasons we might be having trouble following what's happening is there has been so much spin from district officials about what's going on. If you read their public statements on the matter, you'd think this was the greatest thing they've ever done. So we've put together a translator for some of their hardest spin efforts. First, structural deficit. The district claims that it has one. Well, what is that? Put simply, it's when an organization is fundamentally set up to spend more than it is set up to bring in. One of the reasons for this structural deficit they cite is a competitive labor market. They've cited that a few times. What does that mean? Well, that's just a fancy euphemism for raises. We gave raises. Just in November 2016, the district gave across-the-board raises to teachers and other employees of 3%, and that caused expenses to spike. The county warned the district about this and the potential impact. As it was passing the cuts, school district staff went on a social media campaign. The district was highlighting that all the changes were going to lead to #stronger schools. It's hard to see how the schools will be stronger. It will mean schools have fewer administrators, custodians, PE teachers are all but being abolished at elementary schools. And if the schools are stronger without all these employees, what were they doing? The district also put out a press release when it made the cuts, and it said this, quote, "In addition to eliminating the projected deficit for the 2017-2018 school year, the vote means that the deficit for the following year will be half. Further, it demonstrates strong resolve by board members to confront this structural deficit once and for all." So there's our next spin. It's not just budget cuts, it's the plan for school stability. Which is really just layoffs and buyouts. That last line, though, is my favorite. Let's read it again. Quote, "Further, it demonstrates strong resolve by board members to confront the structural deficit once and for all." That line comes after saying that they will still face a problem next year. Even though it's only half the size, that would mean hundreds of layoffs again. So, once and for all means until next year.